everybody, welcome back to the Sinister Story Hour with Steph.
Welcome back.
This is not necessary. Why? Hopefully, since you stumbled across this podcast, you understand that I might be talking about topics that are a little bit sensitive for some people and can be a little bit triggering at times for other people. So if you are one of those people that have a tendency to feel that way, please keep that in mind while listening to this podcast. Hey guys, have you thought about making your own podcast, but you're not really sure where to start? That's how I was at first, and really the only choice that stood out to me was Anchor. And let me tell you why. It was completely free to start, and it has all the tools that allow me to record and edit my podcast right from my phone or computer. And they distribute the podcast for me, so it's heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other platforms. There's no minimum listenership, and you can start making money from day one. And really everything you need to make your podcast is all in one place. I love it, and I know you will too. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Sinister Story Hour with Steph.
Welcome back, everybody.
We have a new episode for you tonight, and in honor of our trip recently to Pocatello, we have a Pocatello story for you. So recently, we went to Pocatello for a basketball tournament, and while we were there, I did some research on the most famous Pocatello murder or crime that I knew of, which is the story of Cassie Jo Stoddart. Have you heard this one?
I haven't.
Okay, so for this episode, I actually listened to the Crime Salad podcast and the Killer Kind podcast, which were both great. I also consulted medium.com and idahostatejournal.com and oddmurdersandmysteries.com, which oddmurdersandmysteries.com, I had never seen that site before, and I actually really enjoyed everything that they had on there. So if you haven't looked at that one, maybe check it out sometime. So those are my sources for this episode, and we'll just get right into the story.
All right.
Cassie Jo Stoddart was actually a 16-year-old girl. She was a junior in high school when this happened. She was just your basic, normal 16-year-old girl. She loved drawing. She loved music. Her and her little brother actually were living with their grandma at the time. So she did still have contact with her mom, but she was living currently with her grandma. So like I said, she was a junior at Pocatello High School, which, fun fact, Pocatello High School is actually on Ghost Hunters. So it is said to be haunted. And I just spoke with somebody the other day who works with me that went to Pocatello High School, and his son actually went to school with Cassie Jo. So
really?
Small
and we
world.
Just played Pocatello High School.
You did just play Pocatello High School in basketball. So yeah, interesting. So she often did odd jobs. She was trying to prove her independence. She was trying to prove that she was responsible. So she was trying to gain responsibility, just basically like any 16-year-old. They want to prove that they're responsible to their parents and to their grandparents and things like that. She was also trying to save up money to buy her own car. So she would often babysit for her aunts and uncle and do just little odd jobs for them. So her aunt and uncle, their name is Frank and Allison Contreras. They live in Tyhee, Idaho, which is really just a 10-minute drive or so north of Pocatello. I checked from our hotel where we stayed, and it was like 7 minutes from our hotel, so where this house was. So not a far drive at all. And oddly enough, Frank and Allison, they're going out of town for the weekend to Wyoming. So, yeah. Which, if you haven't been to visit Wyoming,
there's not a whole lot to do here.
it's not that exciting, but we do have a few things, and we have a few people and a lot of cows. So they go to the Wyoming for the weekend, but they offer to have Cassie take care of the house. They have animals, and they want her to take care of the animals and house sit. So what 16-year-old does not love the chance to prove you're responsible, make money, and have the weekend by yourself in a big house, right?
Right.
Sounds ideal for me when I was 16. And so it's a perfect chance for her to show that she can do it. And so she's also pretty excited to have the house to herself.
Mm-hmm.
So she does have a boyfriend. His name is Matt. And she asks permission for her boyfriend to come over and spend time because she's going to be there alone. So she asks if he can come over and watch movies. She's not a troublemaker. She's never been in any trouble. They trust her and they tell her, yep, that's fine. Mm-hmm. So he does come over and they were just planning to watch a movie. So he also invites a couple of friends over. Their names are Tori Adamczyk and Brian Draper. So she doesn't really love this. First of all, she wants to spend time with Matt because that's what you want to do when you're 16. You want to cuddle your boyfriend, watch movies, and you don't want other people around. And there were other rumors that maybe one or two of the boys, definitely one of the boys, had a crush on her. And so she had pretty much said, no, I don't like you in that way. I'm with Matt. And so that didn't really go anywhere. But it doesn't seem like she's really into having the other boys there. But Matt promises her, no, nothing's going to happen. We're not going to do anything. It's fine. We won't get out of control or anything. They're just coming to watch a movie too. And so she goes along with it. Mm-hmm. So Tori and Brian show up and...
And Tori is a guy?
Tori is a guy. Yep. These are both guys. So she shows them around the house. She's being nice, of course. And they kind of are taking a mental note of the layout of the house, right? I mean, they're getting the full tour here. So they're watching a movie and they're watching Kill Bill, which I don't remember ever seeing this movie. I don't know why, but it just never appealed to me. But I think it's supposed to be a pretty gory movie, but I'm not positive. So while they're watching the movie, Brian tells them that he has to go to the bathroom. So while he goes to the bathroom, he slips down and he unlocks the basement door. So they stay for a little while longer, and then they start complaining that it's just too boring and they're going to go to a movie at a movie theater instead. Mm-hmm. They claim that they were kind of waiting for a party. They thought it was going to be more like a party setting, and they weren't really into just sitting there and watching a movie. They wanted something a little more exciting. So they leave, and Cassie's pretty happy about it because now she finally gets her calm night, and she was also a little uneasy because she hadn't asked them, her aunt and uncle, permission for other people to be there. She had asked for permission for Matt to be there, but that's it.
Brian.
And so they leave for about 15 minutes and the power goes out. So it's now at this time just Matt and Cassie Joe in the house by themselves. Mm-hmm. And mind you, it's a strange house. They really don't know. Cassie Joe has obviously been there, but this isn't her house, and it's dark and you don't know your way around. So she's very freaked out. And Matt is pretty scared too, but he's trying to be strong. Like he's trying to be the guy and help out and, just calm out his girlfriend and everything. So they also note that some of the dogs are acting strange, that one of the dogs is barking down toward the basement and just acting a little bit on edge as well. So she's getting even more scared. And instead of trying to see what's going on, they basically just stay put, which, if you're scared, you just kind of freeze. And so you just kind of think, well, it'll pass and hopefully it gets better. And so I can see exactly why they wouldn't go in search of what was going on. But eventually the power does come back on, but I don't think it came on fully. I think it was just part of the lights came back on. So at that point, she kind of calms down a little bit more, but she's still pretty freaked out. So Matt actually calls his mom and asks if he could stay the night. So you're 16, you call your mom, hey, can I stay the night by myself with my girlfriend in a house all by ourselves, what's the answer going to be?
Yep, no.
Yeah, that's a no-go. So any normal mom of a 16-year-old is going to say, no way, that's not going to happen. And nice try, right? Because she's going to think, of course, you just want to stay with your girlfriend all by yourselves. So she says no, and I'll be there in a while to pick you up. So she comes around 11 p.m. Matt still tries to convince her, Mom, please let me stay. Cassie Jo is just really freaked out. She's just really on edge at this point still. She doesn't feel great about it. And he just asks for permission to please stay again. The mom, Matt's mom, says no. I already said no. That's not going to happen. But Cassie, if you'd like to come to our house, you're welcome to stay at our house, and I will bring you back in the morning. So Cassie said no. She would rather just stay at the house. She's promised that she was going to do this. She's trying to prove herself. She's, trying to do the responsible thing. And the animals have to be let out pretty early. And so she says, no, I'll just tough it out and I'll stay here. So Matt leaves, and he promises to let Cassie Jo know when he gets home. And as he's leaving, Brian and Tori and him had kind of made plans like, hey, I might see you later, like normal teenagers do. Might meet up with you later. So he calls Brian and Tori just to let them know that they probably won't hang out anymore that night because he's just going straight home. So basically, he's letting them know, hey, Cassie's by herself without even knowing it. Because, of course, you wouldn't think twice, right? These are your friends. So he notices that Tori is whispering, and he asks him, why are you whispering? Well, we're in the movie, so that's why he's whispering. So it kind of made sense to him. He didn't question it. And at this time, they're actually downstairs in the basement, and that's why he's whispering. Yeah. So, of course, now that Matt's gone, this is their time, right? They're ready. So they turn off the power again, and they start making a whole bunch of noise. They start throwing things, dropping things, and hoping that Cassie's going to come downstairs to check things out. She doesn't actually do that, which I
wouldn't.
There's no way I'm going searching for trouble. No. But I probably would get the hell out of the house. I don't know. I would probably be gone. But I don't know that she knew any of the neighbors or felt comfortable going to any of the neighbors' house. It is past 11 p.m. at this point, so who knows what she was thinking. So they're dressed in dark clothes, dark shoes, gloves, and they have white masks. And the white masks are painted with red paint, just like they were bleeding from the eyes. And for this to be what poor Cassie saw as her last thing, it's horrifying. It's so scary. I've seen pictures of the masks of them, and it is so scary. So they actually go upstairs at one point. They hide in a room, and they're still trying to make noises. They're slamming a door, trying to get her to go into that room. And when she doesn't really move, they decide that they're going to have to go to her. So they go walk into the living room, and she says, "Who is that? I'll kick your ass." And then she goes toward him, and as she approaches them, they both begin to attack her. And they end up actually stabbing her 30 times, and 12 of those were fatal wounds. And keep in mind, these are 16-year-old boys that are doing this. They're juniors in high school. So Matt calls Cassie when he gets home. It's around 12:15 at this time, but there's no answer. So the next morning, Matt calls approximately 15 times, and he still gets no answer. So I don't know. At this point, I would be losing my mind, worried. But also, her mom was trying to text and call her, and nobody was getting a return call or anything. So it was definitely odd that like they weren't hearing anything back. A little bit about